Level 80, a welcome guest. Alphinaud looks just about ready to leave you behind. We mustn't dally here any longer. If Beck Luck is to hear the truth of our travails in the first, you of all people should be present. The A-rank hunt train going on. Time for that right now. Killer.
I'm sorry. You mean to tell me not only that the return of night was your doing,
Yep.
but that you hail from another world as well?
Yep.
Everything we told you, of the source, the shards, the 7 umbral calamities, all of it is true. I realize how fantastical it sounds, and I would not blame you for doubting our testimony. But given your expertise, you must surely have noted the peculiar nature of their souls.
Any other time and I would have dismissed your stories as balderdash and flummery. But upon closer inspection, 'tis plain their souls are far denser than is normal, and that they do not possess true bodies. Save you. Your body is your own.
I'm special.
And your soul is the densest of them all.
As I said before, were it not for their heroism, the skies over Norvrant would still be awash with light, the realm yet at the mercy of Vorthri and the Sin Eaters. After all they have done for our home, seeing them safely back to their own, it seems the very least we can do.
Your tale is intriguing. Yes, very intriguing indeed. Simply to hear it is fitting payment in itself.
Convenient.
As for your friends, I can but agree. Their valorous deeds on behalf of Norvrant are deserving of recognition, of their own fitting payment.
You will help us then?
I will. I would see my knowledge put to good use for a change. I do have one condition, however. I am not the spry young Numo I once was. As such, I will require assistance in my fieldwork and testing.
It would be our pleasure. We'll be laboring for our own benefit after all.
Worlds. Hunter of Errands. You've spun quite a tale, but tell me, have you given any thought as to how you might return to your world? White Auracite, you say? An intriguing proposition. One which fails to account for the present state of your souls. They have become highly charged, likely as a consequence of having maintained tangible forms for so long. Such an energetic, unstable state, there is no telling what may happen to their souls within the Auracite. It could very well become immutable to transference, never to be restored to their bodies. That's not good. Then would it be possible to force our souls into a state of dormancy prior to transference? In theory, yes, but the soul is not a candle to be snuffed out and relit on a whim. Well, that sounds ominous. Now, what exactly would rendering our souls dormant entail? In order to maintain a corporeal form, your souls constantly draw ether from your surroundings. This process must be halted and the resulting surfeit of ether removed. Your minds would ultimately be separated from these fall bodies of yours, rendering you incapable of interacting with the world around you. A cruel fate under normal circumstances, but one which would be rectified upon your return home. Leaving lifeless husk, like those poor souls at the inn at Journey's Head, corrupted by the Sin Eaters, their ether made stagnant by the light. Corrupted, stagnant. Might I see these unfortunate individuals? Why, do you think you might be able to help them? I might or I might not, but I shan't know for sure until I have seen their condition firsthand. I would be glad to take you to them on the understanding that you won't do anything which might increase their suffering. It was my faith in man I lost, not my compassion. Well, I see no need for all of us to accompany you. While you escort our guests to the inn, I will assist Irianje in creating the requisite auracite. I believe my talents would be better applied to that endeavor as well. Might I leave the three of you to assist Becklug as necessary? Let us make for Amarong, then. Amarong! Oh, is this where we're going to see the little boy from the trailer? The beginning of the game? Boy, little girl, I don't remember. Or, that one, yeah. But this is Halric, is it? Yes, his etheric balance leans perilously toward the light. Toward stasis. What do you suppose will happen to him? Not too bright, are you, boy? Same as all poor souls corrupted by the light, he will become a sin eater. You don't know that. We've defeated the wardens and banished the light from the night sky. Halric was completely unresponsive before, but now... Humble. And perhaps there is yet hope. If I may, there is a treatment I wish to administer to the patients. Sort of treatment. In the course of my studies of the soul, I once created a tonic which could temporarily stimulate the ether in one's body. After some refinement, it came to be used by the Knights of Vobert. Then, for far darker purposes. Lest it fall into the wrong hands, I swore never again to make it, but for their sakes I will break that oath. It is not like to reverse the stagnation, mind you, but it should offer some measure of relief. Patience with soul time. Auden stares blankly at you. It would seem the tonic has had no effect. That's disappointing. What is this warmth I feel in my chest? Perhaps he's just far gone. I feel warm and my legs, they don't feel as heavy. Ugh. News, everyone. Now then, have you noted any change in the patients? Notable rise in body temperature and increased motor function in most of the patients, at least. More severely afflicted show no response. As I feared, then. True that with the restoration of night, the corrupting influence of light will no longer grow, and yes, their bodies will naturally return to equilibrium given time. This holds true only for their corporeal ether. Their incorporeal ether, that of the soul, is not so easily mended. This is why those in the later stages of corruption, like Howrick, appear unaffected by your tonic. Precisely. Boy's soul is too far gone, his mind held together by the finest of threads. There's a chance he may one day recover, of course, but it could take years, decades even. By the gods, he could wake to find himself an old man. I mean, better than what his alternative was before, honestly. Yeah, it sucks, but like, at least he's not a monster. So he's old, so maybe. Arguable. Fine reward for his persistence, the opportunity to mourn the life he never had a chance to live. No, there must be something we can do. Look, I realize this is not why we petitioned your aid, but do you think it possible we can find a way to hasten their recovery? Maybe. Nor do I think it impossible that in treating them we might learn something of relevance to your own predicament. Welcome guest. Level 80, good for the soul. Lug is ready to speak of the metaphysical. I suspect the Crystal Exarch has told you of my past, that I was once a mage of the Royal Court of Vobert, and that soulcraft was my field of study. The tonic you administered to the patients here is one of the fruits of my labors. I hoped to do great things for the kingdom. But in the end, my knowledge brought only suffering, a plague the like of which none had ever seen. Hands of unscrupulous men, which should have been my greatest triumph, instead became my greatest shame. Mustn't dwell in the past. Now you have a chance to redeem yourself. That I do, a comforting thought indeed. Let us return to the task at hand, finding a means by which we might revitalize these people's incorporeal. You think it can be done? For the sky is still ablaze with primordial light, I would call it an exercise in futility, but now we may have a chance. The method I have in mind would entail the conjuring of a familiar. They are able to amplify the energies poured into them, making them the perfect conduit for the ether revitalizing magics we will ultimately employ. You're about to launch into a lengthy explanation of the metaphysics of your plan. Don't bother. I'd rather get on with doing whatever it is that needs to be done. It's all the same to you. Whatever reagents must be procured or spells invoked, I'll do it. I admire your spirit. Are we going to learn something that's going to help her cure her little kobold friend? Very well. Your first task will be to gather the necessary materials. Purest of waters and finest of clays, as well as a fey lantern brimming with pixie magic. If you're convinced the resulting familiar could help the patients, fine. Alphanal, the water and clay will be simple enough, but I think you know what we'll have to do to get the lantern. You don't mean... have to play. Pixies took quite a liking to us before. If we humor them with our company, I'm sure they'll be willing to help us. Fine, we'll pay a visit to Ilmeg, though I never thought you would be the one to suggest going back there. Impressed you've been there at all, let alone befriended the Fey folk. Oh, while you're about it, seek out the new Moa Pla Inni. They will be able to supply you with water suitable for our needs. Right, let's get this over with, shall we? It still remains the matter of the clay. Might I prevail upon you to find it? How hard could it be to find clay in, like, the desert area, right? If I'm wrong, would likely be best. Know you of anyone who might be able to assist us? Miners? Oh, I could ask the miners at Twine. Well, there are scavengers at Mordsuk. Ah, yes, they will be able to point you in the right direction, I am sure. While you and the twins are occupied, I will see if there is aught else I can learn of the stagnation which afflicts the people here. Wine. Half Magnus. Silly, well, what a coincidence. Come at a good time. We've just this moment finished repairing the Talos and trolley you lot took to Nabathorang. Trolley was no trouble, but the Talos would have been another matter, had we not had a visit from Master Chai. He offered us a share of the leftover building materials from Daedalus Stoneworks, as well as a few trade secrets to help us along. Clever man, that Chai News. He seemed pretty keen on the ideas I had for putting the giant Talos to work. Poor trolleys. Like a giant trolley, but Magnus still refuses to see all the good we could do with it. You're entitled to your dreams, Jarek, but that doesn't mean you can go harassing our guests with them. Master Chai was just being polite. He's a train guy, too. Something tells me Zilly here didn't come all this way to talk about trolleys. What is it you need, friend? Thought it might give me an option to talk about trolleys. I see, and this familiar requires clay from Amarong. But look no further. If anyone can find you some quality clay, it's us. Saying that, it isn't exactly a commodity nowadays, but there must be some lurking somewhere or other waiting to be dug up. If I'm not mistaken, there was a time when they used to take clay from Mount Byron mines to make adobe bricks. Place is swarming with coyotes now, but if you're after the good stuff, you could do worse than to look there. Oots. Mines. Play. Girl. Putting Tornation and Wandering Coyotes. Traveled across the universe to a different parallel world. cowboy world. All like prospectors and miners. Look over there, everyone. It's the cowboy universe. Please. I would have to go back to Twine, but no. Go back here. Twins have returned, and in one piece at that. I was convinced the pixies would turn at least one of them into a garden ornament, but no. You have the clay, I take it? Wonderful. We need but combine the clay and the water, then heat the mixture with the Fey Lantern. After that, it will be a simple matter of settling upon a suitable form and performing the necessary incantation. Lug, I have a question. In the event that we have need of this spell and you weren't around, would it be possible for another to perform the incantation? Assuming they possess the requisite skill, yes. Alric and the others have suffered so much, and I swore to do everything in my power to save them. If there is a chance the spell could do that, I would be the one to invoke it. Mayhap you should be the one to do so. Deep understanding of the subject's physical state, combined with a strong desire to help them, can drastically increase the magic's effect. And you are plainly more familiar with these people than I. Dare say there are few in all of Norvant more dedicated to finding a cure. Is that not so, Zilly? Absolutely, she's the best woman for the job. Very few, but all should go awry. I'll see what I can do. Is that a challenge? Well, I'll be damned if I let it come to that. And we are all of a mind on the matter. Alizé shall be the one to conjure the familiar.
Let us begin. I trust you've prepared the clay? Very good. Now, I would have you sculpt for me a porksy. Plump, with floppy ears and a short curly tail.
A porksy. I think I know what you mean.
Pig.
There we are. How's that?
Well, it is certainly creative. There's no denying that.
Yes, I'm no artist. Very funny.
Pay him no mind, child. Though it may look like a grotesque parody of reality, it is what the invoker believes that matters.
Like a Mr. Potato Head.
You're not helping.
But I speak the truth. If successful, this incantation will turn imagination into reality. Which is why the only thing of import is what you believe this figure embodies. You must focus. Hold the Porksy's image steady in your mind's eye. Now then, as I taught you, relax and allow your energies to flow.
With flesh of clay I bid thee rise, on wings of dreams to touch the skies. What once was idle fantasy, I call forth to reality.
Not bad for a first attempt. Now, let us see what can be done for young Halric.
Gonna eat like the bad ether.
Through the operation of the magics you invoked to animate this familiar, it is now replete with the energies required to stir the boy's soul. You need but give it a name, and it will do as your heart desires.
Call it Alphanod.
A name. All right, I've decided. Now. Go, Angelo!
Mother, I...
Did something. Obviously didn't work. He's still a male all raw. Who is he, Beck? Look, did it work? Believe it did. You and your fledgling familiar have done well. My eyes do not deceive. A hint of color has returned to his soul. Gods, I would jump for joy if it weren't so exhausted. So close now, Halric. As you are even now in the process of discovering, this magic asks much of the invoker. What you may not have realized is that the same is also true of the subject. As such, we must proceed with caution. However, with further treatment, I have the utmost confidence the boy will make a full recovery. Observing the reanimation of his stagnant soul has been the most enlightening. I will need time to put my theories to the proof, but I believe I can fashion a spell to produce the opposite effect. That is, to induce stagnation, thus enabling our safe transport back to the source via Aurosite. Thought occurred to me. What about this treatment? Lug said when the soul is rendered dormant, the mind is separated from the body, that a person becomes incapable of interacting with the world around them. Does that not sound a lot like some of the tempered back in the source? Not really. It is the fate of most tempered to become slaves to primals, save in a handful of cases, or am I missing something? I can master this technique, the art of revitalizing the soul. I know of at least one in the source who could desperately use such treatment. Oh yeah, our little kobold friend is gonna use. I was right. Gabu. Exactly. His condition is uncannily similar to Haurik's, is it not? The only difference being that his soul was suffused with earth-aspected ether instead of light. Follows that if his soul is subject to similar kind of stagnation, there may be a chance we can save him, right? Forgive me, but who is this Gabu fellow of whom you speak? I see his condition does sound similar, yet there is much and more about the soul that remains unknown even to me. I say this not to discourage you, you understand, but to remind you that this is delicate work we do here, work requiring patience. Of course, and as long as there is hope for the patients here, I will devote whatever time is needed to see this through. I refuse to spend that time in idleness. If it's all the same to you, I'd like to stay here with Angelo and continue that with their treatment. Two of you should return to Crystarium with Beck Lug and see if you can't make some headway with their newly posited theories. I would tell you to rest first, but I see you're not to be convinced. Ah, the fire of youth. Let us return to the Crystarium, then. Finally, I found you. Hey, Sheer, what are you doing all the way out here? There's trouble back in Yulmore. Lady Chai is beside herself, sighing, pacing the whole lot. Near enough begged me to go and find you. Sighing and pacing, you say? It must be urgent. I take it I will be returning to the Crystarium alone. Go on then. It's not as if I have anything for you to do. Thank you, Becklug. Becklug. Sorry for bothering you and all that, but she says the future of Yulmore is at stake. Level 80, good for the soul. Complete. Level 80, nowhere to turn. Ashir is anxious to see you and Alphinaud back to Yulmore. Lady Chai's up in the parlor. Best not keep her waiting, eh? Teleport to Yulmore. These lazy people be up in arms about having to work and stuff now that we've saved the world. Well, naught here seems out of the ordinary, though I do not see Lady Chai anywhere. Probably pacing around outside again, staring off into the distance and all that. Sighing. This sigh. Strange. Let's see if we can find her and discover the source of her distress. Outside. Here. Balcony. I like exchange. Over there it's
Oh, thank heavens you're here.
she's great.
Lady Chai, whatever is the matter?
I knew not where else to turn. Oh, this is all too much for my poor heart to bear alone.
Alone? What of Master Chai?
That is the very reason I summoned you. He's gone.
What? What happened?
It all began after the events at Mount Gulg. With Lord Vorthry out of the way, we all agreed that a new leader must be chosen.
And so you held an election?
Yes, well, sort of. Not a single person volunteered to stand, you see. After a lifetime of leisure, we free citizens have grown somewhat indolent. Readapting to the harsh realities of life is trying enough, but to take charge of a broken city as well? No one wanted such responsibility.
Makes sense.
Nevertheless, Yulmore could not well do without a leader, and so we decided that anyone and everyone should be considered a candidate. And after we cast our ballots and tallied the votes, the mayorship fell upon my dear husband.
Also makes sense, given his part he played in helping save the world.
Well, given the manner in which he orchestrated the construction of the giant Talos, none could deny his leadership qualities.
Yeah, see? That's what I just said.
But even before then, he had proven himself at Daedalus Stoneworks, don't forget. He is more than qualified for the role. The perfect choice. Indeed. I told him as much when his victory was first announced. But perhaps I was too forceful in my attempt to encourage him, for shortly after that he vanished without a word.
Air.
You believe he was so daunted by the burden of leadership that he felt compelled to flee? Please, Lady Chai, dry your eyes.
It's out of character for a guy who actually built the giant stone gallows thing.
Your husband does not strike me as the sort of man who would abandon his duty, much less his beloved wife. There has to be some other reason for his absence.
You truly think so?
Could be in danger.
What about you? What do you think has become of my husband?
Couldn't leave her, they love each other. Don't know, but whatever it is, he won't have fled. Right, but I think he's fled. Sorry, he went out for a pack of cigarettes. Be right back.
And there you have it, Lady Chai. You needn't worry. Master Chai loves you more than all the world, and he will return. Wherever he may have gone, rest assured we will find him.
Thank you, my dear boy. You have set my mind at ease. I will trust in my husband and await his return.
Oh, 80, nowhere to turn. Now we have to find him. Notable absence. For all his comforting words, Alphinaud is plainly troubled by Master Chai's sudden disappearance. Makes no sense for Master Chai to have left without a word, but even if he had, he would not have done so unobserved. Someone here will have seen something, I'm sure of it. Split up and inquire as to whether anyone saw him leave, or, failing that, if they have any idea where he might have gone. I will meet you at the Glory Gate to compare notes later on. Master Chai? Why, yes, I spoke with him recently, though I recall he was in a rather dour mood, concerned about Yulmore's neglect of industry, you see. Lord Vorthry's apparently inexhaustible stores of mule and no great need for money. Little wonder our businesses were all but forgotten under his rule. I assured Master Chai that the Boutique of Splendors will do all it can to contribute to the revival of trade here in Yulmore. Seemed to satisfy him. He took his leave soon after. Your exchange with Moen has taught you about the stagnant state of business in Yulmore. Gotta go down a level. Can't use them. Surprise, isn't this like the Idleshire of this expansion? Rauger's Reach? You can use mounts there. I recall a man fitting that description, asked to speak with the poor buggers lately come from right. Said he wanted to know the state of things down in the derelicts, and you can be sure we gave him an earful. Lack of food, medicine, clothing, there was plenty to tell. We hunt high and low for whatever we can scavenge, and it's barely enough to fill our bellies. But folk here don't just want to survive, they want to thrive. When he heard that, he started mumbling to himself, something about finding us work, I think. Fair play to him, though. Not content with having his ear chewed about the derelicts, he asked about other settlements and all. After that, I can't really say. It looked like he was headed for Gate Town when I last saw him. Exchange with Hathenbet has taught you about the poor living conditions of Kalusia's downtrodden. The wrong way. I could get up from there. Looking for Master Chai, are you? It's something amiss? When last I saw him, he seemed ready to collapse from exhaustion. I insisted he rest and catch his breath, and we talked for a while about his concerns over the city's defenses, amongst other things. He made more than a few valid points. Many of our men are still recovering after your confrontation with Lord Valthree, and finding General Ranjit in a heap in the middle of the plaza shook us all to the core. Man commanded no small amount of loyalty, and some of our longest-serving soldiers seemed lost without him. Indeed, a number of them left. Not that we blame you, of course. Without you and yours, we would still be blind to the error of our ways. Anyway, funding permitting, I would propose replenishing our ranks with volunteers from the derelicts in Gate Town. We have a duty to protect not only Yulmore, you see, but the surrounding regions of Kalusia as well, and I, for one, would welcome any man or woman willing to take up arms for that cause. Indeed, I told him as much, and he seemed relieved to hear it. It was on that note that we parted ways. He headed outside, as I recall. Your exchange with Cornine has taught you about the perilous state of Yulmore's defenses. There's just a lot to deal with. Ah, there you are. How did you fare? Have you learned anything which might offer a clue as to Master Chai's whereabouts? Interesting. He apparently paid a visit to the Queen Bee as well. They discussed the possibility of granting admission to customers from outside Yulmore, an idea which the proprietor was surprisingly receptive. Where we met Alphinaud at, right? Sounds like he's got big plans for the place. Yulmore, I mean, not the Bee. Perhaps, but the question remains, where did he go after leaving the city? Notable absence. For the people, with furrowed brow, Alphinaud carefully considers where best to look next. All we know for certain is that Master Chai has shown great concern not only for Yulmore, but its surrounding settlements. It's logical, then, that having consulted those within the city walls, he would wish to do the same to those without. Well, if you would go and make inquiries and write, I shall do likewise in Stilltide. Gate Town I leave to you, Kaishir. Fair enough. Where should we meet when we've finished? Well, top rung would seem to me to be his next most likely destination. Seem to me to be. Let us reconvene there with any luck. One of us will have stumbled upon him by then, but if not, we will be well situated to continue our search. Right, well, let's go find Master Chai. Haste lot. Oh, the name doesn't ring any bells, but there was a rather dapper-looking Mistel gentleman here not long ago. He wanted to talk about relations between Wright and Yulmore, rather the lack of them. Lost a great many people to their promises of meal and the chance of a lavish life among the free. All three thought to take even more from us, conscripting the few able-bodied men we had left to guard his paradise. He didn't tell you what happened when the Sin Eaters came. Such things are hard to forgive. All three is gone now, and we're curious to see what will become of Yulmore in his absence. That's what I told your friend, Chai Nuz, was it? I'm sure the others said the same. Not what he wanted to hear, I suppose, because he left soon after, and that was that. Quickest way is just going to be to fly. Like an eagle. He paid a visit to both Wright and Gatetown as well, did he? I see. Kaishir and I glean much the same. Seems determined to salvage what goodwill might yet remain among the settlements of Kalusia, the only likely place he has left to go being Amity. Come, if we are quick, we may yet catch up with him. Ready. Horror. Horror. Free. Great Serpent says. Free. Probably in one of these. As you look. There he is. Silly Alphanaud, Kashir, what are you doing here? Might ask you the same, Master Chai. We have been looking all over for you. Looking for me? Whatever for? Lady Chai has been nigh inconsolable in your absence. She claims you disappeared without so much as a word and bade us return you to her side. What in blazes are you talking about? I left a letter for her in our chambers. I suppose she could have overlooked it. When she gets an idea in her head, I can only apologize. No harm done, Master Chai, but since we are here, might I ask what compelled you to come all this way? I told you had been elected mayor, and from what we have gathered from the nearby villages, you have been inquiring about the people's grievances. Is it safe to assume you mean to take office? Now, let's not jump to conclusions. I did seek to learn about the problems faced by the people of Kalusia, that much is true, but I am by no means sure I am the man to solve them. Tackling our many challenges will require resources, and until I have secured them, it would not be right to assume the role of mayor. And you believe said resources can be found here? The people's grievances are many, but in the course of my inquiries, I have already met with several individuals willing to lend their aid in addressing them. However, there remains one individual crucial to my plans, a man whose counsel might yet make a mayor of me. Respect, such forethought is, in itself, proof of your suitability. The city needs you, Master Chai, and I am certain this man of whom you speak, whoever it may be, will reach the same conclusion. For what little it is worth, we will vouch for you should he require convincing. Whatever you need, you can count on us. We believe in you, Master Chai. But that big robot. I don't know what to say. You don't need to say anything. You've got your actions to speak for you. As long as I could remember, all I ever wanted was to make it into Yulmore, but that dream's gone now. Burst like a bubble or a boil, or more like. Anyway, outside of repaying Master Alphinaud, I haven't had a clue what to do with myself. Spent most days in a daze. But you've been running up and down trying to find a way to fix this mess for everyone. I reckon you can do it. You got this lot up to Mount Gold, didn't you? How hard could mayoring be? You're going to steer Yulmore to a better future, I know it. And I want to help, properly help, do something that makes a difference. I don't know what it is yet. I'll work it out on the way. You let me come with you, that is. You give me entirely too much credit, the lot of you, but I can't deny it gives me heart. Come then, let us press on together. Thank you, Master Chai. But we mustn't get ahead of ourselves. Yulmore needs more than a man with good intentions, which is why I'm here, to find one with the experience needed to see the city thrive. Who is this man exactly, and are you certain he's here in Amity? Brendan is his name, and yes, he is, or was. I had scarcely begun to explain myself when he decided his time was better spent elsewhere. He served as chief advisor to Valthry's father when he was in office. If Ranjit was the mayor's right hand, one might say Rendon was the left. Between them, they kept Yulmore on the road to prosperity. The city needs more than a mere man of business, which is why I must find him. Even if you do, what makes you think he will listen? Before giving chase, might it not be wise to speak with those who know him, here in Amity? It may be able to shed some light on his reason for rejecting your overtures out of hand. Yes, I suppose that makes sense. Perhaps we should start with Tristal. And as I recall, you made rather a favorable impression on him. I'm certain he would be willing to talk to us. Oh. Greetings, friend, and to you too, Master Chai. I presume you are here to ask after Rendon. I couldn't help overhearing your earlier exchange. Yes, well, with Valthry gone, Yulmore wants for a leader. No one rise to the challenge. The city could very well collapse. Came here seeking Rendon's counsel and hope that we could build a better Yulmore together, and that is still my wish. But given how abominably you were mistreated there, I will quite understand if you choose not to help. Worry not, Master Chai. I bear no grudge against you or the people of Yulmore, and I would not see you suffer for Valthry's villainy. As you no doubt gathered from your meeting earlier, Rendon can be rather uncompromising. He has his principles, you see, and little patience for anyone he deems less committed to their own. Your desire to right the wrongs of your past, of Yulmore's past, is quite admirable, but I fear the guilt you bear on the city's behalf works against you. I can see it in your eyes and the way you carry yourself. It goes without saying he sees it as well. You must let those feelings go, Master Chai. Be more assertive. Commit to this course and prove to him Yulmore has the resolve to change. Resolve to change. I believe he was heading towards Pit 8 when he left. If you plan to go and speak with him, I suggest you be firm and clear in your intention. Pit 8, that sounds lovely. Very well, to Pit 8 we shall go, and I will not take no for an answer. Nay, not even a maybe. We're just going to skip right over Pits 1 through 7, huh? Little town. Pit, like a pit stop. Looks like a grave.
Well, well, it's you again. Well, I see you've invited your friends. Need them to fight your battles for you, do you?
I didn't invite them, as it happens, though they are indeed my friends. Well, not only mine, but every true Yulmoran's. They are the ones who awakened us to the truth, to Lord Vorthry's villainy, the famous warriors of darkness.
Where the famous artist Alphanaud and his...
Are they now?
Yes, they are. It would be no exaggeration to call them our saviors. We owe much and more to their kindness, but we cannot depend on that kindness forever. To do so would be a little different from entrusting our affairs to Lord Vorthry. Nay, we must learn to stand on our own 2 feet. And I would have them present to witness my attempt.
Hear, hear, Master Chai.
Your sentiments are admirable. Yet admirable sentiments do not a nation make. In my capacity as advisor, I once strove to build a better Yulmore. Gave honest counsel to my superiors, drafted laws for the benefit of one and all. But in time, my values fell out of favor. There was no need for them in this paradise Vorthry was creating. And so I left my homeland behind.
Oh, he's all butthurt. Go for him, I get it.
But you, Chai News, you were content to wallow in indolence under Vorthry's auspices. And so I cannot help but ask myself what manner of nation you intend to build.
I can offer no simple answer to that question. But this much I will say. It is my hope that Yulmore can become a nation which her citizens might freely choose to build together. A great many people, myself included, flocked to Yulmore seeking sanctuary. The alternative being to live in fear and die in pain. It seemed an easy choice. And sanctuary we found. As much food and drink as we could ever want. Secured at the cost of the surrounding villages. Little wonder the people gathered at our doorstep, begging to work among the bonded. The free were blind to it all, of course. Content to, as you say, wallow in indolence. In ignorance. Were I mayor, I would first take stock of the city's resources and see that they were assigned equitably. Our days of reckless consumption are behind us. The distinction between free and bonded died with Vorthry. The needs of rich and poor alike must be considered if our nation is to survive. To which end I would take steps to secure channels for supplies, rekindle relations with nearby settlements, who re-establish industry, reach out to neighboring nations, and the list goes on and on. But I am no ruler, nor even a politician. I am an entrepreneur. My expertise lie in planning and profit. I haven't the knowledge or experience to run a nation. Please, Rendon, will you not help me? Together, we could solve the city's problems. Build a Yulmore for the people.
A more for the people. I'd rather like the sound of that. But before I offer you my counsel, I would be certain of your ability to perform the duties of office.
You would?
You ask me to help you solve Yulmore's problems, but first I would see you solve one on your own. Accomplish that, and you will prove both to me and the people that you are a man worth following.
Ahem, right then. Is there a particular issue you would have me resolve? Seem to have conducted an assessment of the problems Yulmore now faces. I assume you will agree, therefore, that the matter of dwindling food stores is the most pressing. Ah yes, meal being neither a desirable nor less sustainable option, I assume alternative foodstuffs are now required to fill the void. A man who hungers is not like to contribute much to society, save violence, perhaps. Tell me, how do you propose to solve this problem? Give me a satisfactory answer and I will consider offering you my counsel. A combination of measures would seem to be in order. One to address the immediate issue of supply and another that of production. Go on. At present, Yulmore's coffers can be used to purchase food from our neighbors. This would afford us time to address the underlying problem that affects us all, the long-standing neglect of agriculture. Villages that once served as sources of trade for foodstuffs must be repopulated, their means of production restored. Assumes, of course, that we can rekindle relations with our neighbors, guarantee security and stability in the region, and most importantly, find people willing to leave the city and take up the rebuilding effort. My, think of all that by yourself, did you? Yes, it began as a rather abstract plan I drafted some time ago, after speaking with the peoples of Yulmore and nearby settlements. You've impressed me, Chai News. I have? Well, that is a relief. Oh, you haven't secured my support just yet, only my attention. Grand plans will not be enough to persuade the masses. If you would ask them to rebuild, you must provide them the means to do. Fair point, Rendon, and one to which I have given much thought. I propose to use the use of Talos to aid in the establishment and maintenance of these settlements. Their employment should drastically improve efficiency and ultimately increase production. Talos, but Daedalus Stoneworks closed their doors years ago. Without a ready supply of the necessary equipment, the people would starve before your plans could be put into effect. As the heir to the Daedalus Stoneworks, it just so happens that Talos are my field of expertise. With a little help, I'm quite certain we can acquire what we need in no time at all. For the people,